begin by creating a folder. You can save it anywhere on your computer, in the desktop or documents. So mine, I've saved it in a different location, but you can save it. You can save yours anywhere you like. So just start by creating a new folder by right clicking on the empty space, going to new, then choosing folder. Give it your own name. Okay, that's it. Okay, open it and create a new folder called computer literacy. Use an underscore if you must separate it, but avoid using spaces. Okay, after that, we are going to make a few more folders in here. So the first exercise we are going to do is creation of folders. This is important as we will be required to do this throughout this web development module. So let's go ahead and create some folders. We are going to create 5 folders and give them some random country names. Okay, so let's do that. This is my first one. I'm going to name it Kenya. So there's a shortcut here you can use if you have this view. If you don't, you can find it here on the top menu. So this is a shortcut, so it's the same thing. Clicking this is the same. So my second country will be Uganda, so clicking this is the same as right clicking and selecting new. So this is just a shortcut. You can go with Tanzania. My fourth one, let me say USA. And my fifth and last one, let me say South Africa. And again, I want to avoid spaces here and use an underscore. Okay, so we are done creating our folders. So after this, we are going to use a text editor to create text files in each of the country named folders. We will also place some text in each of these files, and in each file we want to at least write one town or city inside that specific country. And we will be saving our files with the .txt extension. So let's do this. So we are going to fetch a text editor called Visual Studio Code. You must have this installed. Okay, so let's give it a second to open. So it's opened. I want to point this folder, your name here. I want to point Visual Studio Code to that folder. So what we do is to go File, Open Folder, then fetch it on your computer, wherever it is. So here's mine, and so I click this. So no need to open. Just click this, and then select folder. Okay, then it will ask me if I trust the others of the files in this folder. First of all, I'm going to check that box and then click yes. And now I'm good because this is that folder. So you can see your name here. So you'll be able to see the name you wrote here, your name. Then our computer literacy folder and the 5 folders we just created. So now we are going to go into each of these and create a text file, preferably named notes.txt. So txt is the extension for text files. So txt just means text. So let's go ahead. So all you have to do is select a folder. I'll start with Kenya here. Right click it and select new file. So it's going to prompt you to give the file a name before you can start editing it. So we're going to name it notes.txt, or preferably Kenyan, because it will contain Kenyan towns, Kenyan_towns. can see I'm still avoiding spaces. So kenyantowns.txt, and then I'm going to give it Nairobi. Nakuru, Kisumu. Okay, so that is saved. We can confirm it's saved there by going here, and we can see that there. Okay, let's continue. Let's do that for the new file, sa-towns.txt. So you can see Joburg. At least one is enough. So let's move on. New file, towns.txt. You can see Dar es Salaam. I'm not sure that's the spelling, but it's okay. The point is creating the files. Okay, let's move on. UG towns txt, you can say Kampala. Then finally USA towns txt, and say New York. Okay, so there we have it. This exercise is about creating folders and files and giving the files extensions. Right, after this, now we are going to look more closely at file extensions. So file extensions are these ones. After the dot part, those are the file extensions. So file extensions are declarations. They are the declarations found after the full name of the file name. So after the file name, you usually find them here. So to see any file extensions, you can see it by hovering over a file. Like for example, if I hovered over this file, you'll see that it says type text document. Okay, so if I want to see some more, I can also right click and go to properties. So after this dialog comes up, you'll be able to see the type of file here, text document.txt. So if you do this for any file, you'll see its extension there. Okay, so now the purpose of this exercise, the one we're about to embark on, is to realize that the extension tells the computer which program to use to open a file. So let's create a bunch of files and give them some common extensions, and then we will be able to see how the computer reacts to each of them. Okay, so let's go back to this root folder of ours. So the root folder is the one with your name. Okay, let's create a new folder here called file extensions. Okay, so I'm still avoiding spaces there. Okay, so inside here, we will create a bunch of files and give them some common extensions and see what happens. Okay, so now let's go back to VS Code. You can collapse all these. You can close them up so that they don't confuse you. So now we are working in this. So the first thing we're going to do, we can also close these. Okay, so we are going to create a file named music and give it a music extension. So music.mp3. So mp3 is an extension for music. So let's see. So immediately we do that, we can see the icon is different, and VS Code is saying it cannot be able to load the audio file because it's reading, the computer is reading this and thinking it's an audio file, but it's not. It's just a file that we created. So you can see music. If you were to double click this, it would open in a music player, but it can't play because there's nothing in it. It's just a file named music.mp3. So the same if we did that for video.mp4, it will think that's a video and also match the icon accordingly. And if you try to play this, it wouldn't play because it's not actually a video file. It's just that the extension is telling the computer which app to use. Okay, let's continue. You can look at another example. New file. You can try doc.pdf. Press enter. So you can see this is trying to load a PDF document, but there's nothing. It's just an empty file. Okay, we can try another one. So these are the common extensions we have here. You can try one for images. .jpg, and there we have it. So this exercise, the purpose of this exercise is to see that the extension controls which program the computer opens the files with. So that's it for file extensions. Next, we are going to look at the keyboard, its layout, its special keys, and its symbols. Okay, so we have this document here, and we have this image of a keyboard. So we have escape, print screen. So escape exits context. So if you have like a menu open and you press escape, it will just exit from that context. Okay, print screen is way over here, which works quite different in Windows and in Linux. If you press this in Linux, it will just take a screenshot of the screen. But if you press it on Windows, it will take a screenshot, but it will save it in the clipboard. So you have to, again, to see it, you have to paste it on a photo editing software. Okay, so next, delete. Delete is for removing any selected elements, whether a file, a folder, or a piece of highlighted text. Okay, so next is home and end. So these two buttons, home and end, which are these ones, they are used very closely to move the cursor on a line. So if I can demonstrate that, let me first close these, then create a new file here called notes.txt. Notes, not notex, notes, press enter. So this is a sentence to test home and end. Okay, so if I'm here and press home, it goes to the beginning of the line. If you press end, it goes to the end. So you can use those interchangeably, like so. They're very helpful. Okay, let's go to the next one. Have backspace. Backspace just removes one character at a time. So when you press it, just removes a character at a time on the line. Okay, and Control Z puts us redoes what we had done there. Okay, so we have tab. Tab is a group of white spaces. So if I come here and press tab, you can see it leaves a huge space. So it's equivalent to like several space bar tabs. Tabs. If you tap space bar several times, you will end up here. But if you want to give the space to just in one button have a lot of space, you use tab. So tab is this one over here. Okay. Cap locks toggles between upper and lowercase letters. So when cap locks, the cap lock light is on, you type in capital letters. And when it's off, you type in small letters. Okay. Enter. You can use it on text to start a new line. So if you press enter, because it's a new line, you can even cut a sentence, take it to a new line with enter. Okay. So Shift, Control, Window button, Alt, these are used in conjunction with others. So for example, Shift, you use it to we select a symbol on another button. So like, for example, like this number 1 is sharing the number 1 with an exclamation mark. So if you hold shift and press it, you get the exclamation mark, and so the other symbols. Okay, so that's shift. Control is used in conjunction also with others to make some actions. For example, you can use Control C to copy. So if I wanted to copy this part here, hold Control down, then tap on C, then release both, then come here, hold down Control, then tap on V and release both, and I'll have copied and pasted that. Okay, Alt is also used with other buttons. So those are not the only limits for Control. Each program determines its own shortcuts. So if you learn shortcuts of a program, you probably need to hold shift or Control down, then some other button to do some other action quickly. Okay, so window button mostly it's used for the same as Control and Shift, but mostly people just use it for popping up the start menu there. So press it twice, hides it, press it again, it shows it. So Alt, the most common use for Alt is switching between windows. So if you can hold Alt down, which is this one, then tap on Tab once, you'll see that while you're still holding Alt, don't release Alt, but you just needed to press Tab once, you'll see this. Then when you press Tab again while still holding Alt, you'll see that you can be able to select any open window to come to the foreground. So if it's this one, if you release, now it comes to the foreground. If you want to change that, you release. Okay, so you hold Alt and then Tab. So this one is very useful because mostly you'll find that you're writing code and then you have a browser here that you're checking. So you need to switch to that very quickly, like that. Okay, so space just adds one white space, and the space bar, if you press the space bar, which is this huge button here, just gives one, while Tab gives a lot of those spaces. Okay, so we move on to keyboard symbols. So these symbols follow the same order as they are on the keyboard. So we'll start here, first cover this first line, then we come here and cover these, then the next, these two, then these three. Okay, so let's see. So take your time and go through these names so that you can master the names of each symbol. Most symbols have different names from what you're used to. So let's start with the tilde there. So it's kind of like a wavy dash. Other people call it, some people call it wavy dash, but it's called the tilde. So it shares a button with the backtick here. So from number 1 to number 0, we have other symbols. So the exclamation mark, which in programming is called not. We have the @ sign, the hash or number sign, the $sign, the percentage sign, which is usually used as the modulus. It's called the modulus in Python. I have the caret. We have this and, also called the ampersand. We have this star, or called the wildcard, the asterisk, or multiply. Okay, we have these two, usually called brackets, but in programming they're called parentheses. And we have dash and underscore, so that's from here all the way to here. And then we have addition sign here, and the equal sign, which is called the assignment operator, which is the equal sign. The add is called add, concatenate, or join. Okay, so let's go to the next line, which is the second line here. So after this one, the line below. So here is where we have brackets. The square ones here are called square brackets. and the other ones here are called curly braces, which are these ones, square brackets and curly braces. Okay, so and remember to type a symbol. Here you hold shift and press. So this button has two symbols, so if you press without holding shift, it will type the one below. If you hold shift and press, it will type the one above. So that's the trick there. Okay, so we have vertical bar or pipe. So it's still on this line. So let's go to the next line, where we have the full colon, the semicolon, the double quote, and the single quote, which are these ones: semicolon, colon, double quote, single quote. Next, the most used symbols in HTML, which are called angle brackets. Here they are. Angle brackets, which share the button with comma and full stop. Then here we have the question mark and the forward slash. I think that's it. So the full stop is also called the period, the full stop, or the dot. And the forward slash is also used to divide. So it's also called the divide. Okay, so next we go down to the uses of symbols in programming. So also take your time to go through these. So these are just the same symbols we just looked at here. You don't have any others. So just those ones on the keyboard. So, and how they are used in programming. So we have delimiters. So delimiters are used to separate the code you're typing. So anywhere you see any of these in this category, just know they're being used to separate code from other code or text from other text. Okay, so context enclosures. So these are used to enclose something. You can see they come in two: the parentheses, the curly braces, square brackets, back quote or back tick, double quote, single quote, and angle brackets. So we shall see this mostly in HTML, which we'll do next after this. Okay, and these are the arithmetic mathematical operators. So they're just the normal ones: addition, subtraction, multiplication, divide, and modulus. That you'll learn how to use modulus once we get to the Python module. Okay, we also have the logical operators, which is this, which are usually used as a pair. So this is the ampersand, this is the pipe or vertical bar, and this is the not. The not is usually used just one. Comparison operators, they also exist in math: greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, equal to, and not equal to. Okay. Next, I'd like to pull your attention to typing. So using the keyboard. So mostly new computer users usually just use their index finger, and they look for the keys they want to press with their eyes, and then they press it with both. Mostly they use the index finger, which is a very bad practice because you'll never learn how to type fast if you do that. So there's some ways you can teach yourself. I recommend taking 20 minutes every day to practice. You can see the finger placement there, and there's a video here I'd like you to see.
When it is not being used, we'll start with your left hand.
So you can
the
see
pinky sits on the A.
So you can see the small finger sits on the A, S, D, F. That's the keyboard here, A, S, D, F. Then you leave GH out and then place the right hand on J, K, L, colon. So each hand handles its own side. So there's no way your left hand will press the buttons on this side, and goes the same for the right hand. You won't press any buttons on this side. So if you want the top row, each finger just moves. If you want the bottom row, each finger just moves accordingly. So to learn this better, go to this link called byteback.org. Then also add this link here, scholars-alumni/typing-tutorial, and then you click on lesson 1 here. So when you click on lesson 1, it's going to take you to this part here. So your lesson 1 will start you off with ASDF. So this belongs to the left hand. So your pinky finger goes there, your other finger there, your middle finger on D, and your index on F. So over here, they're highlighting A. So you should press A, and while placing your hand there. So, and then when you start, it will measure for you your accuracy, your adds per minute, and your error rate. So a demonstration of this, and you can see the keyboard says is colored green here, so that's the button you should press. So let me press A, then it tells me to press on space because this is a space. So press on space, then S space D space F space S space D space F space F. So you practice this without lifting your hand off of the finger, off of the buttons. So if you do this, if you feel that you've been able to do lesson 1 successfully, you just go on and go to lesson 2, which will take you to the right hand, and so further. So by the time you will reach lesson 15, you'll have become good. So do this, give yourself 20 minutes a day to practice, and in no time you'll be good at it. So that's all on computer literacy, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.